Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the Aleph Podcast. Today I've got with me Jasir Abro, who's part of Cosmic Fluid with me as well, and other projects as we will probably talk about. But how are you, Jasir?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. Aleph Podcast.
Yeah. Wanted to have you here from the beginning since I think we have just so much to talk about, so much we've been part of together. And but as is the tradition of these podcasts, I think I'd like to start with, going into how your musical journey began and what were the, first moments where you picked up a guitar or wanted to pursue this thing.
Okay. So musical journey would be when I started playing or when I started noticing music?
I think when you started noticing music, which made you maybe want to play eventually. Right?
Okay, so my earliest memories of like music which I used to like was from my parents' collection of cassettes.
Mm-hmm.
They used to have like Michael Jackson stuff. They used to have a lot of 80s, pop stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of 70s pop stuff, which, some of the songs I used to really like.
Yeah.
But वो एक होता ना, from my first generational sort of attachment to a band was Linkin Park.
Okay.
Right? And it wasn't none of my own doing.
Yeah.
I had a van for school, right?
Okay.
So one of the senior guys donated one of his cassettes to the van, and that was Hybrid Theory.
Okay, bus. Right,
so every morning Hybrid Theory is playing on the way to school.
Paper cut.
The works, and I was just like, okay, I really got into Linkin Park, and then when I searched similar stuff, Audio Slave and Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah.
A lot of और क्या सुनता था? A lot उस ज़माने के जो sort of angst rock, I would like to call it. Limp Bizkit, it was very angsty. So I got into all of that as a listener.
Disturbed,
yeah.
Yeah.
The works. But then to play, the first time, like I was, you can say, captivated by a musical performance in front of me. I still remember, I think now that you mention it, मुझे याद है कि एक मैं, I think I was, TV पे कोई था, PTV Live पे, I think might have been Shahzad Roy.
Okay.
Right? And he had a guitar, acoustic guitar. And he was just strumming it and playing a song. And I noticed for the first time that, I noticed a difference that this particular performer, I heard a lot of Shahzad Roy, videos, and I'd seen other people performing like technically, but I later realized that they were actually just dubbed, right? But this time he was singing and he was actually strumming this guitar, and I would notice that strumming pattern, or like whatever, that sort of attracted me. Just the fact that he's singing and just playing on his own, there's no other. It's just like him and a piece of
yes,
wood,
one person can make that happen,
and he's making it happen, right?
Yeah.
That sort of like, I was like, okay, that's interesting. Then later in school, like some of my friends used to play guitar, and they were really, really good. Usman Siddiqui was junior, Nader Siddiqui, senior tha, but so they had this band, and I used to like sort of hang out with them, and that's how I sort of like, can I borrow a guitar, teach me something?
Yeah.
And the first thing that Usman Siddiqui taught me was For Whom the Bell Tolls, Metallica.
Yeah.
I said this part, da 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 da. Right, so just that.
Yeah.
That was like my first ever thing I learned on an acoustic guitar. I just used to play it over and over. I could play it, so it was like that feedback loop of I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And then just like तो वहाँ से शुरू हुआ, फिर बेसिक चीज़ें acoustic guitar पे मैं थोड़ा सीखता गया. But I suppose the real moment, that's like, that's at that point, that's anybody's journey into music, right? But there was a point which was like, okay, fine, this is it. And that was like a few years later when I was sort of, I had like learned about .com, एक website हुई थी, वहाँ से मैंने strumming patterns or chords, basic.
About .com.
Yeah, seriously, bro, that's how I learned. That's how I learned guitar about .com. Right? I was like, guitar. और उस पे वो बेसिक था ना, मुझे समझ में आ गया, तो वो बेसिक स्ट्रमिंग पैटर्न, वो सारी चीज़ें, पिक कहाँ रखनी है, ये वो. तो it was before YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Because anyway, तो ये I was like acoustic मैं बजा लेता था, तो and then I was at one point I was doing this 6 months I was in the UK trying to do this business degree, which didn't really work out in the end. Decided not to do it. But during that 6 months, when I decided that this degree is not for me and I was coming back, it was Christmas time, right? And I was like, and I was sitting alone in my dorm room, and everybody had left for Christmas.
Yeah.
So it's really depressing. Yeah. In a dorm room in the UK.
Oh yeah.
It's really depressing. It's the worst, right? And I'm just like sitting in my dorm room and I'm watching videos on the internet. And Megadeth का video चलती है, Holy Wars. ठीक है. और वो video चलती है, मैं देखता हूँ और मेरे दिमाग में आता है कि मुझे electric guitar चाहिए.
Nice. Which year was this?
This is 2007.
Okay.
No, 2005 or 6. 5, 6.
Yeah.
Before Zabist.
Yeah.
So this is then I like on the way back I bought my like first Squire starter pack. It was a Sunburst Squire guitar with like a Squire amp, and I bought a Digitech RP50 pedal which had like tones on it and like beats and stuff. So that's where it started. Then after that like I had 6 because I decided आधे साल में कि मुझे डिग्री नहीं करनी UK में, तो मैं गिटार लेके वापस आ गया. और फिर 6 महीने थे जो सारे मेरे दोस्त यूनिवर्सिटी गए हुए थे और मैं घर पे होता था, कुछ काम भी नहीं होता था, एक ऐसा internship or 2, but I was generally free, so I practiced like 8 hours 10 hours a day, just played music for that 6 months. I did nothing. I just like woke up, like played guitar, and it was annoying for everyone involved, all my friends. उस ज़माने में अगर कोई आते थे मैं बस बजा रहा होता था कोने में गिटार.
And you were how old at that point? Like in your 20s?
This was right after A levels.
Yeah.
So, I suppose
Or late teens.
No, not late teens. 20s.
Yeah.
Early 20s.
Yeah.
Then I started a film degree in Zabist, media science. Right, I was the second batch. And there were a few musicians in my class.
Yeah.
And those musicians happened to be Hamad Khan, Ali Haider, and Aziz Qazi. And there was also Jasir Haider was also in our class.
Achha, Jasir Haider.
Jasir Haider was also in our class, and even Ali Gul was in our class. So like this was my university boys. So I think पहले साल के end में decide हुआ था कि कोई मतलब there's some freshers performance. So the guys who used to play music in my class sort of naturally formed a band because we had 3 guitarists and a drummer.
Yeah.
Right? And then because I was the junior most guitarist because I had just started.
Yeah.
So I started playing bass.
Okay. As it happens.
Right,
as it happens.
And I'd never played bass before that, right? And like तो वो सारे फिर bass में बजाना शुरू किया. And then we used to have this thing which like I used to play some songs on guitar and I used to switch with Ali Haider, so we used to like trade off. The half our set I used to be playing guitar, half our set I used to be playing bass. So. But mostly bass मैंने सिर्फ live और मतलब band के साथ बजाया. I've never really practiced at home alone bass, It might be my first instrument. It might be like my natural instrument.
I
have a feeling because
it definitely is. I feel because there's a groove element that is really important for bass, which is something you just have naturally.
I have this memory of this conversation. I remember. I think I was watching some old Vital Signs video, and Shaan was going crazy on the bass or something. One of the bassist was going crazy on the bass.
Yeah.
And I remember having a conversation with my dad, who was alive at the time, and he was like, I was like, I want to play bass guitar.
Yeah.
And he was like, you should play electric guitar. why, and his reasoning was very like wise, but like, you know, interesting at the time. I didn't understand it. His reasoning was because electric guitar is in front and it gets seen, you know?
Right.
So there will be like, and yeah, he was right. But I think core से मुझे bassist मैं हूँ, क्योंकि वो बड़ा natural होता है मेरे लिए.
Yeah.
Like I don't, playing bass is very, I compose most of my things, most of the things are.
At what point did you get your own bass guitar, like into the joint?
I had like, again, Usman Siddiqui had this bass lying around. It was like this Amir Zaki's at one point. He had made this double neck guitar bass, and then he didn't like it, so he cut it in half. And I had the half that was Usman had bought it from someone, and then I had like just taken it and was playing it.
Yeah.
So I had that, and then uske baad, I think I bought the P bass. That was my first bass guitar, dude. Wow. That's crazy. So I think I got a call from someone, and they were like, someone's selling their Fender P bass.
Yeah.
And I went to this place in Sadar, this building. Alan ek boy tha. And it was this like Fender P bass, and it was like nicely. I love a used guitar.
Yeah.
I love that worn, you know, that has seen.
Yeah.
It has character.
Yeah.
I went with Hamad actually, and he was like, "Bro, choro, bro," because, you know, it didn't look like a new guitar, and I think it cost me like 15,000 rupees, dude.
15,000 rupees for a Fender P bass.
15,000 rupees for a Japanese P bass, with like a big analog tuner, which I lost or was stolen or something. I never found that again. And an extra pair of strings.
That's a great deal.
Like, that's the best deal. Like, I've never, like, I'm
But
so
did you
glad.
know what a Fender P bass was at the time?
I knew what a Fender P bass was, dude. I was like, Fender.
Yeah.
I knew, I had a Squire by Fender, the first guitar, so I knew. You know, obviously, इतना तो था ना कि electric guitar खरीद जाऊँ तो ये नहीं खरीद सकता तो $1,500 के Fender जो चाहिए.
Yeah.
So I had gone for a Les Paul.
Yeah.
I'd gone looking for actually an SG. I'd gone looking for an SG, right? And they didn't have it. They ran out, and they had the Squire, and I was like, all right, I'm getting something.
Yeah.
So I got the single coil. And very interesting because that was the first guitar. If that first guitar would have been like
a humbucker,
I would have been a different
player. Yeah.
Yeah, totally different. Because
did you always do the finger picking thing? Because you do that a lot.
Finger picking thing. I think it goes back to about.com. Right? Because I think I was very fortunate that I did use about.com because all the techniques there was legit. And all the things that they told you to be careful about, you know, all the technique issues. Now, right at the top, when I was learning, I just kept, like, you know, for example, like with finger position, like one finger per string and the thumb plays the top two.
Yeah.
Right? So just keeping that position, that was my practice from the get-go. You know,
Very
all the chords and stuff, that was like where I was practicing. So, us lihaz se wo fayda hai ki now, like I find it much more expressive when I'm playing with my fingers rather than a pick.
Yeah.
Pick is good for a lot of situations, but like it's much more expressive with the fingers, you know.
Yeah.
Dynamic control and kuch cheezein to hoti nahi hai. And you can make it sound a lot busier also by not really doing a lot because each finger is doing like a couple of things.
Exactly.
Pura wo
एक पूरा ensemble सा आया था. But yeah, so at what point did you like have any kind of serious pursuit of making your own original music?
That came very late, I think.
Was before that, like, because I know, okay, maybe start with how did you end up playing with Amir Zaki?
Yeah, so we were like, in college we had this band with me, Hamad, Ali, Haider and Aziz. It was a band called Spoonful.
Yeah.
And it was named after, it was such a funny story. It was named after, because we were like film students, we had to make this, one of our assignments was this film which Hamad made. It was called Spoonful.
Okay.
Right, in it, he set up this like lounge outdoor, right? It was supposed to be like natural light assignment. So he sort of tried to cheat it by setting up like an indoor setting, but outdoor. So balcony mein sofa, TV bhi lagaya.
Acha.
And the whole concept was like, you know, this guy eats this whole tub of ice cream alone on camera. That's the it's short, like the student film, right? We were like, whatever, you know. So the name of that film was Spoonful. So we were like, you know, when we were thinking of a band name, that's what we settled for.
Okay.
There was a point we were considering MAD, which was really like, you know, I'm glad we didn't do that. It was like very like Me and Democracy, you know.
Me and Democracy.
Like deep, you know. Like the Spoonful. Later on, we realized that there's a Howling Wolf song, Spoonful, Got Me a Spoonful of Sugar. Indian Cream did that song. It's a great blues song.
Yeah.
So that we found out later that there was a song, you know.
It was alignment kisi tarah hogi.
Well,
and it was basically a blues.
It was basically like we used to cover songs that we used to listen to. So a lot of Santana, a lot of Black Sabbath, AC/DC. We even did like a Rush at one point. We did like that song, man. Tom Sawyer.
Yeah.
We used to do that shit. It was a lot of fun. You know, I remember the first time we were jamming, and we thought, like, I think after the first gig, though, we didn't play any of these things. First gig, we played some standard. I think we played Noori song and random. But once we started playing together, and Aziz, you know, we used to come over and we used to jam and we used to like try and play songs together. When we tried the first time we tried playing Sabbath, we were like, wow, this is like
so much fun.
Yeah, so much fun. Because and everything, you know. And Sabbath had these breaks, right?
Yeah.
So the breaks, I think they really captured us. We were like, wow, that's really cool. So we did a lot of, like, we used to play War Pigs. We used to really kill War Pigs, too. It was a lot of fun.
Nice.
And we used to, like, Maiden.
Trooper.
Not Trooper, we used to do Fear of the Dark.
Acha.
And we did, like, Sabracadabra.
Oh, I like the song.
Like, yeah. You know, but अच्छे scene, the underground scene में we used to get, you know, average to 200-250 लोग आते थे हमारे gigs पे.
Where all
200-250 tickets बिकते थे.
भाई अब तो हमें ये मिले तो
300-400 लोग होते थे, ठीक है ना. अब मुझे बाद में मुझे पता लगा, लोग बोले ब्रो वो वहाँ सामने तो थे ही नहीं, बस पीछे बैठे हुए थे, सब लोग अपने चीजों में लगे हुए थे.
Yeah.
You know, it was.
I mean, that was really. What do you credit? I mean, I think I have my own views on this, but like at that time, it felt like if you did anything, it was so easy to get people to come.
There was few things happening, and you know, and we never really thought about that. If I'll be honest, you know, like I never until recently, I never really thought about. Like, especially music, especially the early days, right? I don't think we ever thought कि क्या लोग आएंगे.
Yeah.
Right? We were like कि हमें show करना है.
Yeah.
ठीक है, और चलो sound के इतने पैसे हैं, PCC के इतने पैसे हैं, with NOC, ठीक है, show खड़ा हो गया. Then we just like get word of mouth out, like maybe social media भी नहीं होता था. We didn't have Instagram, we didn't have any of these things. Yeah. So it was like mostly like what, you put up a poster somewhere.
Posters and word of mouth.
Right, word of mouth. And like Duncan पे आपने लगा दिया poster. Zabas के लोग, you know, पता लग गया थोड़ा और लोग आ जाते थे. Because कुछ होता नहीं था और वो underground rock, PACC, people used to show up, man.
Yeah.
It was a cool scene.
Yeah.
Now there's so much distraction that even with all the aids, people are, you know, they forget about it.
Yeah, it's very strange. So, I mean, I did Spoonful. I know Spoonful did some.
Yeah, so we were talking actually.
Yeah.
This is running up to
original
Zaki.
Stuff. Yeah.
Running up to Zaki, right?
Yeah.
So this was the band Spoonful, and we used to play like these cool like Santana, Soul Sacrifice, these you know, all these like classic rock songs. And I don't exactly remember how or the first time that we met Amir Zaki, but it's like it was a very natural sort of.
Might have showed up to one of your gigs or something.
I don't know, dude. I don't remember. Maybe he was in a studio.
Yeah.
Maybe he heard us play and liked it. You know, but it sort of worked out that, you know, he liked the band and he asked us to play with him, and we were like, yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge thing.
Like, straight up, Amir Zaki, even before I picked up the guitar, I knew like I had an argument with my cousin like when I was really young. He was like, Salman Ahmed's like the best guitarist in Pakistan. I was like, bro, it's Amir Zaki.
Yeah.
Like Salman Ahmed is a great guitarist,
Yeah.
right? But if you're thinking of the best as far as technicality and as far as creativeness and as far as like pure like skill and pure potential, there's no one else.
Yeah.
Right, and there's not a lot of work to prove that, you know. It's
Unfortunately,
it's very unfortunate. There's not a lot of work to prove that. But if you had the fortune of ever listening to him, then, like every time I used to play, bro, like like I used to have to check myself.
Yeah,
more than a reality check.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm playing Mera Pyar.
Yeah,
I'm on bass.
Yeah.
And the solo is about to come in and I can't fuck this up.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And the solo comes in and I just wanna sit down and hear it. You know what I mean? I just don't want to do anything when that solo comes. I just want to sit down and like aur se baith ke adab se sunna hai mujhe ki kya hua. But I have to like play.
Yeah. So I mean, how many shows and all did you play with?
Yeah, we played for like a couple of years. We were playing together. Shows, and I think he released a couple of songs. It's maybe Hamad and Ali, Haider and Aziz were featured in that Tumhari Aankhon Mein.
Okay.
Hamad shot that. So we were working together for a bit. We used to hang, and it was a great time. He enjoyed playing music with us. I was always honored by that fact that he used to like it. Maza aata tha. Aziz se thoda tang hote the. Kyunki us zamane mein Aziz was like a shuffle drummer. Not a shuffle drummer, sorry. He was like for some songs, he wasn't as precise at the time that Amir Bhai sort of demanded. Because he was used to like Gumby and these top Allen, stop like pop, like on point drummers. So it was, but it was. I think Aziz learned a lot from that. He would say it himself. He's the first one to admit it that that's what actually that sort of time in which he was tightened by Zaki. Sort of tightened him up. As a session drummer that he used to do.
So I mean, so I guess that might have been your biggest break in a sense.
You can call it a break, but we didn't. It would have been a break if we would have capitalized on it, right? It was maybe an opportunity. Yeah, it was. There was a time, dude. We released a couple of songs. One of our teachers, big industry filmmaker Babar Sheikh, offered to make a video. We used to do this cover of Intaha Ho Gayi, Intezar Ki. Right? He's like, I'll make this video for you. So that was the point. If like in retrospect, I think if we would have made that video, something would have happened.
Yeah.
For the band. But Zaki ke saath again, it didn't like last too long. After we graduated, then Hamad got into filming and he went for his masters. I was also, we were filmmakers. And at that point, I did make a conscious decision to not pursue music for monetary gain or value. It was a very conscious decision because of it's very sad si baat hai, but because I'd spent time with Zaki and he was like, in my mind, he was the top of the ladder. Yeah. But then he
and you'd seen
in
his
the industry
right?
the industry and his circumstance and his around, it was not very heartwarming. It was not like something that I could be like, okay, fine, if I get to this level, which is an impossible level to get to, even then, this, there's all this shit.
Right.
So,
I mean, do you feel the same way now?
No, I realized it then. See, I've had the superhuman ability of learning from other people's experiences. Yes. Observation, right? Yeah. So at that point I was like, dude, like this doesn't make sense. So I was like, I want to do film and production, and music is just my passion because music makes me happy, dude. Yeah, it's the only thing, one of the only things that actively makes me happy. Yeah, playing music is just like linked to that happiness,
joy,
center, right?
and
So that was one of the things that I didn't want to corrupt that earlier on. And I was like, no, I'll just like jam with my friends whenever I want to, and I'll make money through video.
Right.
And I did that for like 10 years.
Yeah.
Damn.
So, from your experiences as a filmmaker, what led you to then take a step back from that?
Okay, so
I guess first question is, what was the majority of the work you were doing?
Yeah. So I'll get into it. So there was two main branches right after graduation, right? One was this, I made a company, sort of, and started doing production projects, like meaning if anybody wanted a small video and edit or anything done, freelance type stuff, but through this my own private company, right? And I started taking on and I started working in feature films.
Right.
As the first feature film I worked on was very, very good opportunity. It was with Sabir Samar on this film called Good Morning Karachi. Right out of Zabist. And me, Nadir Siddiqui, and I think Maheen called us, I think.
Yeah.
So it was, I was working on that as a production assistant, and, the opportunity to work in pre-production, in the directorial department, production department, in all the departments.
Yeah.
And I thought, like, I made an observation. I'm like, okay, fine, I could do maybe sound, sync sound location, right? Because that's sort of mixes, like, my experience and my ears, which I'd sort of trained, and I know a little bit about, music and recording, so I can do that. So then I did, like, although, technically there's a whole training for that.
There's,
and you study a degree for that, but this is, it was Pakistan. And
you learn by doing.
Yeah, you learn by doing, and, I was the one-eyed and amongst the blind, so for a short while.
Yeah.
So I did like maybe 5 or 6 feature films, dude, which released in theater. Did 021 with Jami, did Jalebi with Jasir Jaswal. I was like, me and I had this other friend of mine, Dara, Dara Shiko. He was on the mixer, and I used to boom. So it was a 2-person audio team. We did a bunch of feature films, but end of the day, it wasn't. I think after the last one, I was a little okay. Pump the brakes.
Yeah.
Because my experience on feature films was like the best experience was first. Right, because that was like with Sabiha's thing, it was an international crew, Germany se pura crew aaya tha, core crew. So there was like an international level of control on every aspect of the film. Right, which like, for me as a new, and I love working, and I love like putting in the effort, right, for people who I think deserve the effort that I'm putting in. So it was a perfect sort of thing. I used to give my 100%, dude, like, and they used to appreciate it, and it was
it was fulfilling in that way.
But every other film after that has just been like, like a step down. Like, not to say anything on the filmmaker's part, it's just that that's how.
But the ecosystem
that's how it was done in this industry, and the first film I worked on was it was an outlier. Now, literally everyone who had worked on that film will tell you that, like, that was their most professional experience in Pakistan. Like, you talk to anybody from that crew, right? Who a lot of them still work in the agile. Right? They'll see that film was something else.
Yeah.
So, wo baat hai ke it just like, and then the last one, I worked on this Revenge of the Worthless. I was just like, maybe this is not, maybe I don't want to do this.
Yeah. And what I think,
and plus, I think by that time my own production stuff was taking off, and I had some big projects, and I was, 1-2 साल के projects, 1-2 आ गए थे मेरे पास, So I naturally sort of faded out from there. And then by that time 5-6 saal guzar gaye the, you know, bahar se log pad ke aa gaye the.
Right.
And they had gotten their equipment. Equipment was a big thing, right?
Yes.
Like so they were obviously more qualified than me. I knew that because wo usi pe pad ke aaye the saman pe, and I was just like, you know, filling in the gap when.
Yeah.
So I sort of bowed out of there.
Fair enough. But so when you started your own company, and what kind of projects were you then focusing on?
Well, we did a bunch of like you know, small scale corporate work, which includes like you know, videos, promo videos. Also includes like sort of health and safety videos.
Yeah.
You know, so and apart from that, like one of the bigger projects I did was with Deaf Reach, FESF. So I shot and planned and filmed the whole 5,000 word sort of sign language dictionary.
Oh, okay.
That took like about 2 years.
Wow.
And with Hamad was on that project with me. You know, so like ऐसी चीजें हो रही थी बीच में.
Yeah.
So उससे फिर fade out okay, इस पे आ गया फिर एक दो commercial. They did a commercial for Lifebuoy. I think did another one with Telenor.
And throughout this period, jam sham chal raha tha.
Yeah, there used to be
music fun was happening.
Music was इस ज़माने में क्या होता था कि like twice a year, thrice a year, I used to have this one dish jam party at my house.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What it basically was, I just called all the people I used to enjoy playing music with, and I used to say, bring your friends or.
That's basically how we met, and these initial ones. No, I guess the fag end of these ones
at the
for you.
at Jambro thing.
Yeah.
Which it turned into.
Yeah.
So this was like I just used to, because you know, I was an only child, and it was just me and my mom. So I had the bottom half of the house.
Right.
So it was convenient. We used to call like 20-30 friends. I had a jam room, and we used to play music, and there used to be like everybody used to get some food. So it was, you know, it was an interesting thing.
Yeah.
Met a lot of cool people during those years.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was flush with money with the project, so.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I mean, at some point I remember when we first connected around late 2016, early 2017, I would say, is that, you know, the Jambro thing was starting off.
Right.
So where did that idea come from?
I had a friend who I'd worked with in films, especially with Sabia's film Ibadullah Sheikh, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he had a younger brother. Ibad was a few years older than me. He had a younger brother who was closer to my age, who was also a couple of years older than me.
Yeah.
Rashadullah Sheikh. And Ibad was like, yeah, you need to meet my brother.
Yeah.
And Ibad was like, you know, because the first film I worked on, he was already a veteran. So he was like, you know, he took that elder bro sort of role in that zone. No?
Yeah.
And obviously, bro, if you work on films, dude, you family ban jati.
Yeah,
it's weird because you're like
projects.
20 days, 18 hours a day, and you're going through such shit together.
Yeah.
And you have to make it work. And when you make it work and you party together, you know, it's like you get bonds.
You get really close.
You get real bonds, right? So he said that actually his brother would have more to do with me. So Rashad actually got me in touch with this Deaf Reach project for 2 years. And after that, he came to me one day and he's like, dude, I have an idea. Because he was like an entrepreneur and used to make websites, you know. He was a go-getter, bachpan se na.
Yeah.
He came to me, he had this idea for this app, right? And he had the idea because he shifted away from like his area, he shifted to defense. And in his area, he had friends who used to come over and play music. Over there, he didn't know anyone.
Right.
He was like, there needs to be something.
Yeah, to connect.
It was very natural.
Yeah.
And I was like, he said the name is Jambro. I'm like, yeah, sounds cool. He's like, yeah, so, you know, he straight up, he's like, yeah, we have a couple of guys in Singapore who are funding it. And we get into this thing in Singapore and, you know, want you on board for community and everything. Because he knew, okay.
You were already doing the community thing.
I was already doing the community thing, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, we need you to do this. Yeah. And like this is really interesting because when he said this like a few months earlier, I was done like with production stuff. I was like,
you were burning out.
Maza nahi aa raha tha, right? And I like sort of made a promise to myself. I was like, bro, if I ever get the opportunity to leave all this shit and just travel the world and just play music, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Right. And then a couple of months later, Rashad like gives me this, and I was like, dude, I gotta do this, you know, because it sort of met like, what do you call it?
It's like it felt like it was
metamorphosized. नहीं क्या कहते हैं उसको?
And manifesting.
Manifest.
Yeah. A manifestation of your thoughts at that point.
Yeah. So I did, and I was like, okay, I gotta do it. So I dropped everything, and he was like, don't drop everything. I was like, I don't want to do. All my boys were like, dude, just keep doing it on the side. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
So I dropped everything, did the Jambro thing for a couple of years.
Yeah. And how was, I mean, I was kind of part of a lot of that journey. But for you, how was that? I mean, I guess there were some expectations and hopes from it, which I guess didn't really pan out in the timeline, at least that
yeah, but hindsight's 2020.
Yeah.
So like, thing is, we made some early. We raised some money early.
Yeah.
And we didn't get the opportunity for further because our CEO Rashad, because of his name, Sheikh Rashadullah, right, didn't get visas for any of the conferences that we were invited
I didn't realize that was the reason.
Dude, like, so we were represented by like random people at these like Music Matters and like at Barcelona, like Silicon Valley. So we were invited to these places because we were making waves at the time, but our CEO didn't get the visa. So
that's
So eventually the money ran out, and then COVID hit.
Yeah.
So I jet from there.
Yeah.
Because it was a Singapore-based company and there was a bunch of things, and I just didn't have. I was doing it for 3 years, bro. I gave like 120, 30.
Yeah, you were just fully in it.
And, I needed a break.
Yeah. But as a result, we did, the good thing is that it did kind of give a shot in the arm to the jamming culture, which did exist in some sense in the underground days, right? And Beach Mein, it seemed like that had gone out of vogue, and a lot of musicians were just playing in their own silos and in their own bands or whatever.
Yeah.
But just the coming together and playing music together wala scene. We got to play some cool places, like, because of that. Like
it's great.
Pasu and Lahore. Like LMM, I remember, was one of the highlights.
LMM was really good. Yeah, and the whole thing was, it was so guerrilla.
Yeah.
There was no fanciness.
Yeah.
Dude, like,
it's just about get it.
It was just, I find it hard now to tap into that same level of enthusiasm the way that I was then. Because it was so guerrilla, dude. Like, we were staying in the sleaziest of motels.
Yeah.
And like, we were traveling by bus, and just like, I remember Pasu, dude, like 5 of us.
Yeah.
Left Karachi on a public bus.
Yeah, you went all the way.
30 hours to Islamabad back then.
Yeah.
Then 30 hours to Pasu.
Yeah.
Right? Just so we could jam. We didn't even get paid for it.
Yeah.
Just so we could play.
Yeah.
Right? That was...
But we ended up playing something in a place where few people will ever get to play.
Man. For sure. That was something else. The night jam was something else too, which never got released. But.
Yeah. But do we have it still?
I probably have it somewhere.
The night jam, that should see some light. But yeah, for me personally, it was very inspiring because Jambro ki wajah se I met I remember the first meeting or get together jam scene at Farhan P's.
Yeah, man, काफी bands बने.
Yeah, I mean, I got to meet.
Tatil bana.
I didn't know more than maybe 10 musicians in Karachi, and suddenly I knew like 100.
Yeah.
And we all added each other on Facebook and WhatsApp and whatnot.
Group of epic jams.
Yeah, exactly.
Shout out.
And then when Aleph started, which was incidentally around the same time, I just had this community of people that would come here, and then the jams continued here, and then out of that bands happened.
Yeah, exactly. It's like if you think about it, it's like the patronage of hosting jams, sort of baton.
It just passed
the
on.
baton is passed, right? So like I started up at just like this thing, and then Farhan P.
Yeah.
When it became Jambro, it became a little too public.
Yes.
So I wanted to like have that home space.
Yes.
Which was not, because earlier it was just friends, right? So it was all good, but Jambro, anybody can come.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to do it at my house. Then Farhan P offered his place. He's like, yeah, we can do it there. We used to do it at Farhan P. We used to have regular scene at T2F. Public scene.
Yeah.
You know, which I don't think we ever made any money. It was always.
Well, and now it's coming full circle in a way for me, because we may be having some Jambro. Collaborative stuff happening.
It's full circle, dude. They've got some new partners on board, and I wish them all the best, and I'm going to help them at whatever they need. It's hona chahiye.
So cutting to a slightly different thing. So original music. Out of Jambro, we formed Cosmic Fluid. Because you and Aziz have been playing for years. I was in a lot of the jams, and we always had some great jams together, and we're like, this is a thing, So we decided to make this outfit. Initially, it had an ensemble. There was like Lari and Vikas and Rachel, Sohaib on keys, and then the three of us. But then obviously we realized that it needed.
I think people bowed out. It's fine.
People went into the. I mean, Lari started Bigfoot, got busy with that.
And Rachel moved to Canada.
Yeah, and Sohaib had another band, Amtati. But I mean, the core Cosmic Fluid has become like a very interesting kind of entity. I mean, did you ever imagine a band like this, where any different vocalist that comes in with us, it morphs into something else?
I didn't imagine it with a vocalist, to be honest. This was
you thought it could just be a jam band, basically.
Yeah, matlab jam, like, see, I think like that's always been personally my experience of playing music. Was that I used to always have more fun when I used to play stuff that we didn't know what we were playing.
Same.
Because usme se aate the surprises. Ke, oh wow, that's so cool. I would never have thought of playing that.
Exactly.
But I played it.
Yeah.
Right? So this, you're tapping subconscious, you're tapping stuff that is not your conscious mind. So I was always more attracted by that improvisational aspect and that sort of, I think Faisal Gill has a lot to do with that, because that was, again, Faisal Gill was a big early influence, by the way. I think I forgot to mention him earlier.
Faisal Gill runs Kappa, has run Kappa.
Yeah, and I think he's really influenced a lot of the musicians that have even come out in the last like 20 years. Including me, Aziz, me. I had a band with him also, Experience. Yeah, dude. During Spoonful, I had a band with Faisal Gill called Experience, and we went to like Germany. We toured to Germany with me, Aziz, Faisal Gill, and these two guys, Nazar and Yusuf, were in this band Positive, Sindhi band. So like we collaborated, went and played at the House of World Cultures.
Wow.
And collaborated with the DJ. It was like an electronic music festival.
Yeah. And what was his Faisal playing?
Faisal was playing a bunch of instruments. Guitar as well as mandolin, as well as other stringed instruments. He used to play a lot of things.
Yeah.
But I think he's the source of my sort of attraction towards improvisational style of music. Actually, he is, if there was one person, because me and Aziz and him used to jam.
Yeah.
I used to be on bass.
Yeah.
And I used to notice that no matter what I do,
Yeah.
right, Faisal's gonna play something on top of it to make it musical.
That's the thing.
Right.
That is the real skill.
Like, and I'm like, you know, and I'm challenging myself and him, like, okay, fine. Like, what if I do like this totally dissonant, but he makes it work. He makes it work. He makes it work, right? And Aziz also, because when it's trio like that, then it does, you know, if there's, you can make really weird things work, and you can get into really weird sort of, you know, jhols and really weird like cycles.
Yeah.
Which you would never think of sitting down with a guitar.
Absolutely.
You would never ever go there, you know.
Yeah.
You're only there because of the way that you're listening to it, then you play something, you know. So, वो एक जो बात है ना कि मुझे बड़ा ये लगता था कि improvisation और उसमें क्योंकि आप sort of create कर रहे हैं वो music.
On the fly, बिल्कुल.
On the fly, और वो जितने लोग देख रहे हैं ना, जितने लोग invested हैं उसमें, वो उनकी energies भी आप डाल रहे हो उसके.
That's the thing. There's a collective consciousness
like
game happening.
Observation, right?
Yeah.
It's like if they're observing and they're giving you their attention,
Yeah.
then that is sort of this like energy which you can put into the music and make something new.
Yeah.
And when you make something new, then the audience is more like, okay, this is something new.
Yeah.
And then, so it's a cycle, right? So that's what always interested me more than anybody can, like, you know, practice.
Yeah, it becomes a collective experience where...
If you're going to put in like 10 hours,
yeah,
you can practice even Guthrie's stuff, right?
Yeah,
those people
you
who
can replicate
replicate it, right?
Yeah.
Usme kya, do it like
yeah,
anything that's been played. But the thing, when he was playing it, he wasn't replicating anything. He was playing his soul out. Right?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
All these great artists, dude. You know.
Yeah, I mean, so that's for me, I think the most interesting thing, like to make a musical performance or a thing into an experience where it matters who the audience is. It matters, like, if someone else new walks into the room, whether they say anything or not, whether you even notice them or not, there's like an energy that enters the room and it changes things.
It does. Yeah.
You know,
some people have like a massive amount of energy, like, especially, you know, like, I felt, at least, first time I think I met Ali Azmat.
Yeah.
He walked into this room.
Yeah.
And like everything changed. First time I met Shaan on set.
Yeah.
Walked into the room and like the energy changed. Tangible feeling, right? It's something is, and like later when I thought about it, it's like these guys, especially, you know, these top performers, front men or women, have so much attention on them.
Yeah.
That is sort of, it's a tangible energy.
Yeah.
It's all the attention, like, you know, and they're just like, they just know how to deal with it. You know,
yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah. And I mean, it's also, it's very, being on stage or being the person playing at any given point where you are improvising and things are happening. It's also very empowering, kind of.
It's great.
Like you're channeling something beyond yourself.
Matlab, it's you know, when you're improvising stuff, it's not something you thought of, right? So it's like it's something else.
Yeah.
Or what that is a matter of debate, but whatever it is, it's not something you thought of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the thing. Like, I mean, it's hard to explain it to people who don't improvise.
Yeah.
Who do a lot of practice and are great musicians.
There's like two camps.
Yeah.
There's two camps.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't mean to like offend anyone.
Yeah.
But that's just how I feel. That's how, like, that was my calling. That sort of music, right? So like I've always been sort of interested in trying to, like, because ghar mein to hota tha. Okay, in your room with your friends, with nobody else, you can do these things. And you know, when we started recording them, it used to sound pretty cool, man. It used to sound good. You know. So then it was like, okay, maybe we want to do it in front of people.
Yeah.
So I think a couple of festivals I put together a group to do this thing. I think one of the I Am Karachis.
Yeah.
which Mikal was organizing, right?
Yeah.
I think Hamza and Nida were also organizing one.
Yeah.
So I went to Mikal and I was like, I didn't know him.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was introduced by a common friend, and then I told him, okay, I have this I just wanna like improvise. He's like, oh, jam band, and he labeled it for me, right?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, jam band. That's what we are, right?
Yeah.
So we sat together. We just those friends used to enjoy playing music with it. It's like, hey guys, we have the show on at IIM Karachi, and it was me, Lari, Aziz, and Zishan Lalani.
So this was the one before we played?
Yeah, this is the first one. This was, and we called ourselves the Beocho Quartet. Right? That was the name. Officially on IIM Karachi, Beocho Quartet. And what is Beocho, if you ask? Beocho was, it was our shorthand for roast beef cheese burger from Chips.
Oh man, Chips ka burger.
The roast beef cheese is really good.
I feel like I want that right now.
Yeah.
It was always like, all the friends went to Mr. Burger and I was at Chips.
Yeah, the roast beef cheese. Nothing else. So it was so good that we named like our band after it.
Yeah.
And then uske baad, I think I had another sort of shenanigan ke naam se. It was like, this friend of mine randomly called me and he's like, I need your band to perform for content for this channel that he was launching. I was like, okay, I called up Saif, I called up Aziz, right? We went, we improvised for like 40 minutes. And he got like 2 videos. And that was, again, this is early things.
Yeah.
Early things. And then Jambro ke scene bhi ho rahe the. And then I think I met you, we played together at one of Fran P's house things.
Yeah.
And then we hung out, and then you got this place.
Yeah, and you had.
And then we used
I don't know if you heard of DA before that, or I made you listen to.
No, I heard of DA. Manne had made me listen to DA.
Achha. Oh yeah, she did the Desert Journey.
She did the Desert Journey video, right? Yeah. So I remember we were hanging out because at some point, and she like listened to this band, right? And I was like, fucking hell, that's crazy, right? And the sitar parts, and I recognized the vocalist because I knew Osama.
Osama always mentioned that, in the early days, like he showed you some guitars.
Yeah, Osama was also an early influence on my guitaring. And I remember ek dafa Pearl Jam का एक गाना था, Do the Evolution.
Oh yeah.
तो उसके मैं 2 parts सीख लिए थे. और एक दफा था, I think हम hang out कर रहे थे, मैं कुछ 3 घंटे वही 2 parts बजाना. और boys सुनते रहना, उन्होंने कुछ बोला नहीं. बाद में बोला कि bro please bro.
So Cosmic Flu has been a real fun ride, and we have a lot of stuff coming up and under process, so we will talk about that when it's closer to getting ready. But another thing that happened in this time was Surkhuab.
Yeah, it comes back to the question that when did I decide to do it seriously?
Yes, exactly.
Right, so seriously was then when Jambro, when I was like sort of exiting that situation, then I was like back to that point where, okay, fine. Because I was still doing some projects, just do I want to do film? But then I was like, okay, I was at this point in my life where I was like, I need to have some music out which I can say this is my music.
Yeah. Because again, I think also by that time, other indie bands had started putting stuff out, and it was more like
people have started putting stuff out.
Representation.
People are always putting stuff out. It wasn't that.
But Beach Med, I felt like there was a gap also.
Things were being put out. They weren't the kind of things that we might have been listening to.
Sure.
So the point is, like, that wasn't my motivation. Log cheezein nikal rahe hain. I was like, my motivation was I just need, like, what do I have to show? What do I have to show for
the
what do I have to show to myself?
Yes.
All right, that like for putting all this time and effort into music, like किसी को सुनाना है, मैं क्या सुनाऊं? ठीक है, तो वो कुछ उस point पर था नहीं. 1-2 चीजें थी, कुछ consolidated नहीं था. तो फिर मैं सोचा कि यार ऐसे कुछ band का scene करते हैं, कोशिश करते हैं. one fell swoop, one final effort, few years towards, 100% music, see what's up.
Yeah.
Do all the things that I think I want to do. Try and get it out there.
Yeah. So in that frame of mind is when Surkhuab entered the picture.
Yeah, Surkhuab entered the picture. I want to make a band with Shaani.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of Malang Party.
Yeah.
And I met him.
I met him at your place actually first time.
Yeah,
when I pitched him the album.
I met him at a friend's place, dude. And like randomly, I didn't even recognize him from the video or anything. Just randomly met him. I'd taken my guitar. I was playing some blues. He's like, "Hey, bro, come to the next room." And next room was like his telly and like an amp, and like we jammed a little bit, and it was fun,
Yeah.
There's few people who play blues.
Yeah.
There's very few people. So like Shaani was maybe one of the first people I met who could play proper.
Yeah.
Like whole, as
12 bars
as a guitarist, and it's great guitars, man.
Yeah.
Or I think after that meeting, he called me and Aziz over for a Malang Party concert in Hunza.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
This was the year before.
Yeah.
And
where you guys froze your asses up.
Dude, it was such a scene, man. That time they had it in the Face Mela tha, they had it in a huge sort of ground. And there was so much wind, bro. The speakers were being blown off. There were people holding the speakers. The tents were flying, like entire Shamiana. It was crazy.
Wow.
And Malang Party songs are like not easy.
Yeah,
you had
notes that got blown away.
I had notes. I had like notes for almost every bar because like a million changes, right? And all jazz chords and shit. So I had everything written down because I didn't want to mess up. And like every time the wind blows, it used to fucking go. And then some dude in the audience used to go find that paper, give it back to me while I'm performing. Then I used to, okay, fine, next part, We didn't have a lot of time to practice for that, like a couple of days at Shaani's place. But
yeah.
उसके बाद फिर जब शानी I think कराची आया
मलंग
के लिए तो हमने सोचा कि एक बैंड बनाते हैं जिसपे हम पार्टीज बजाएंगे ठीक है और थोड़े पैसे कमा लेंगे वो बैंड तो नहीं चला मगर उन्हीं लोगों ने फिर ज़ीशान के साथ एक बिल्कुल दूसरी डायरेक्शन में बैंड बनाया कि यार सीरियस म्यूजिक बना
हाँ बिल्कुल बहुत सीरियस like from party music to super serious music
yeah I keep like this internal joke Shaan is like on stage I think Lahodi कि हम serious music बजाते हैं आप seriously enjoy ऐसे कुछ maybe not exactly that
but another really cool cat that you got into the picture with that was John Saville.
John, I wanted to do something with John because I remember John from when we used to play with Zach, and Zach introduced us, and he was a really good friend of Zach's, and he was a contemporary, and maybe like go as far as say he was the Zaki of keyboards of his time, and even now the stuff he plays, dude, is just
it's an advanced understanding of things.
Yeah, and again, like similar situation. कि कुछ ज़्यादा काम नहीं किया उसने कुछ निकला नहीं so at least we got him on the Surkhuab album so he has
and I feel very honored to have been involved in that
so the Surkhuab thing like with Zishan because Zishan was also here at that time
Zishan
Ali in music and used to hang out at Aleph and there was like I think a few months in which like the Surkhuab at the time
gestation
was
period.
In limbo because we didn't know there was some how do I say this the falling out with some of the band members
from the ex-personnel
so and we'd put in like a year bro a year of like regular weekly jams and time spent making an entire album of songs bro originals which are just like
shelved.
They're shelved. Don't remember them anymore.
Yeah.
But they were good.
I remember there was one with Zoe Vikarji as well.
Yeah, there was there was a recording at Bigfoot which was also shelved. You know, there's so many things that are shelved.
Yeah.
With the Surkhuab thing, a year of content, right? Yeah. And then with like Zishan was here, I was like, I just asked him one day, I was like, hey, band mein gaoge? And he's like, yeah, of course, dude. He wanted to. Maybe that's why he was hanging out. I don't know. But he was very excited to do it.
I think when I've spoken
I
to
felt
him,
very honored, like Zishan Ali would want to like sing with us,
Yeah, it was funny. It was like one of those manifesting things because from what I've spoken to him, he was like just being shy, asking Shani to basically make music with him, and eventually it just happened.
It just happened, no? And it's a very natural thing because Zishan and Shani, just both Zishans, right? They sit together, and Zishan has this incredible bank of classical compositions and all these like unknown melodies, purane, but like unknown now because they've sort of fallen out of public conscious, right? So then we had the idea that we'll take few of these great melodies from past like masters, right? And sort of present them in
contemporary setting
with contemporary Western instruments.
And not just contemporary, but with Shani's basically interest in jazz and more complex arrangement.
Wait, even Shani and John both.
And John both.
Right, so the thing is then it's like, it's a very interesting.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting thing. Me and Ajay keeping that backline sort of funky groove up there. So, man, बड़ा मज़ा आया. हमने बजाया. हमने एक album, एक EP record की 3 गाने. अभी तीसरा गाना बस launch होने वाला है.
Yes.
हमारे master marketing strategy के हिसाब से जो 1 song a year.
Yeah. 8 songs going up on Lux Style Awards also. I mean,
not this one. They revised their thing. But it's only Ali Zafar and Young Stars this time.
No. Oh, they revised the nominations?
They weren't nominations.
Oh, okay.
Right. I think what happened was they said that, these are just the list
candidates?
of people who could be nominated.
Right.
Right. So I'm guessing it's a clerical error in which some intern uploaded the whole list.
Oh wow. that's funny.
But I don't know anything.
Yeah, who cares anyway? But no, it's and now you're also playing with Mario Nero.
Yeah. We're doing like the party set.
So this became the party thing.
Yeah, after a few years.
Yeah,
totally different set of musicians though.
Yeah. No, but a lot of interesting, cool things, and there's a lot more to come from Jasir and myself because we're involved in actually
many things. Cosmic
three cosmic related bands, I would say.
Cosmic Gulabo is
Cosmic Gulabo, watch out for that with Wajiha Naqvi on vocals. But hope you enjoyed watching, and please like and subscribe to both A for Aleph and watch out for Surkhuab's new single. Check out the first 2 singles if you haven't heard them, and check out Jasir Abro on YouTube. You'll find some gems on there.
Perhaps,
But thanks for watching. And
also there's a song I released under my own name. It's featuring Altaf Hussain. You gotta watch that.
You gotta search for that one. It's a really fun one.
Spotify,
It's a Corona special. But with that, we're gonna wrap this up, and please stay tuned for the next one. Thank you.
See you guys. Thank you for having me. Follow us on social media.
Yes. Nice.
How long is that?
An hour 10? An hour 20?
Yeah, about